We've been collecting optical data, optical surveillance data on Earth-observing Chinese satellites during the Talisman Sabre and Malabar exercises. And what that's showing is quite a lot of activity surveying the ground during those events.
What sort of information do you think China can glean from all this satellite activity above Australia?
Yeah, so particularly above the operations themselves, they can glean military intelligence on what the capabilities and equipment and as well as processes of ground military activities. So they can use this to derive a fair bit of intelligence on military operations in Australia. So what we're viewing here is a 2D map of Australia. In green there is the location of the Malabar exercise, and all the red lines are satellite overflights of the ground. What we'll very quickly see is the image is quite busy, or the video is quite busy. There are a lot of objects that are flying over. So the key thing to note is the Yaogan series is quite a prevalent series of satellites, particularly the 35 series and the 36 series. They've been referred to in the media as spy satellites. We are seeing quite a lot of overflights from them. The Geeling constellation is also prevalent here. They're likely to grow in numbers to over 300. There's a future growth in the number of satellites that will be orbiting. So what that will provide is much more pervasive surveillance than what they have already. So it's just going to grow.
So what are we seeing here? Whose activity is this?
These are all the Chinese Earth observing satellites that have overflown the site since the beginning of the Malabar exercise. So centred around Sydney Harbour is where the exercise is at the moment. It will shift out into the sea, but these are only a subset of the total number of objects on orbit. These are just the Chinese Earth observing satellites. So we perform overflight analyses. So what we're looking for is manoeuvres, so whether or not these satellites are manoeuvring to position above a certain part of the Earth, in this case Australia. So we track objects of interest and we keep an eye on what they are doing. So we have detected quite a few manoeuvres during the exercises, and it's shown some interesting things on what they're doing to survey the ground.